Grüß Gott in der bayerischen Vertretung. It's a great pleasure for me to welcome you all here in the Bavarian representation. Dear members of the European Parliament, I would like to give a personal welcome to Monika Hohlmeier, who is one of the speakers today. Moni, sei uns herzlich willkommen. Dear speakers from the European Commission, as well as from various glass associations, dear representatives of the European institutions, the industry and associations, ladies and gentlemen. We are very delighted to host this evening's event, Glass, the Hidden Gem of a Carbon-Neutral Future. Glass is a diverse traditional material that is an important part of numerous supply chains. For example, as packaging for vaccine doses and in the automotive or in construction industries, as well as in chip production. And it's a sustainable product, especially due to its recyclability. The United Nations has therefore rightly declared 2022 the International Year of Glass to celebrate this traditional, sustainable and innovative technology. We are delighted that the Glass Alliance Europe has taken the initiatives to mark the occasion with an event gathering policymakers and stakeholders at our venue here in Brussels. While Europe is home to many glass producers who are helping to turn Europe into a prosperous and sustainable economy and society, the glass industry faces major challenges in the context of the transformation to production without fossil fuels, but also due to the difficulties caused by the Russian war of aggression to Ukraine. The glass industry is dependent on natural gas. The uncertainties regarding the supply of natural gas are hitting the glass industry particularly hard. An interruption in supply would not only lead to production losses, but also to serious damage to plants. As an energy-intensive sector, the glass industry is also heavily burdened by the increased energy prices. The additional expenditure for higher energy cost is lacking for the investments in innovative technologies for CO2 neutral production. It is still unclear what the glass production of the future will look like. Electrified production or production with hydrogen. Both seems possible. The different types of glass and uses may also require different production techniques. Against this background, the discussion must be conducted into two directions. First, how can the use of glass contribute to sustainability and waste reduction? And second, how can glass itself be produced sustainably, means with low emissions? I would like to thank the speakers and initiators for enriching this event with their expertise. For this evening, I wish you lively debates and valuable insights. And now I'd like to hand over to Jean-Paul Judson from Knowmore, who will introduce to the session and lead the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Barbara, and thank you very much for hosting us in this exceptional venue in the heart of the European Union, but with the backdrop of the Bavarian Alps. That makes it a very unique place in Brussels. So thank you, and I'm delighted to be with you tonight to celebrate the International Year of Glass, of course, but also glass as a material in all its diversity of its products and diversity of its applications. Joining us this evening are many great speakers. We have no less than 11 distinguished guests and speakers coming from the industry, the glass industry in all its breadth, from several different sectors. Of course, the flat glass sector, the packaging glass sector, the special glass sector. We have also the glass fibers and domestic glass, both industrial leaders but also association leaders. And on the other side, policymakers, key decision makers from the European Parliament, from the European Commission, and from the United Nations. And so we're not just celebrating this evening, we're also trying to create the conditions of a dialogue. And dialogue is important in this moment. And may I just say two big trends. The first one, this global conscience of climate change and the conscience of our collective responsibility to do something about climate change. That will obviously have profound impacts on manufacturing, on the industry, of course, the glass industry, and we know that there are many changes, and we'll be hearing from plans and ideas and roadmaps and action plans of the glass industry to try and improve its own footprint. But there's also something else going on, which is an increased recognition that globalized supply chains can actually be a threat to our strategic autonomy, to our sovereignty, to the way we organize our democracies, our economies, our societies. If I can just take one example, a little bit outside of glass, but still silica-based chips. Earlier this year, the EU Chips Act was published by the European Commission. Why? Because there was a global shortage of chips. And this severe shortage led to a response by the European Commission to say we need to invest in manufacturing capacity in Europe. Why? Because chips are so important. And I'd just like to ask the question, what would happen if we were to have a shortage of glass supply? And I'm also hoping that through this event this evening, we'll also start to hear why glass as a material, as a product, as an end product, is important, and what role does it play in our societies. And I hope that this will also give you a few ideas that it's not just about increasing or improving the footprint of an industry. It's also about improving our strategic autonomy and our ability to have access to materials and products. So, we have a packed agenda. We will go through it like a breeze, trust me, and I hope that you'll be able to get involved in the discussion, and I'll try and keep as much space as possible for questions. But without further ado, I'd like to launch this event by inviting our first speaker to the stage. This is Maive RUTE. I did try. Maive RUTE, she is Deputy Director General at DG GROW of the European Commission. Please join me in welcoming her onto the stage with a warm round of applause. She will be talking about glass perspectives for an industrial future in Europe. Maive, the floor is yours.
Grüß Gott, guten Abend. Hi everyone. Also können wir auch vielleicht auf Deutsch weitermachen, aber doch gehen wir auf Englisch weiter. Thanks a lot for taking the time to pronounce my name, but I already gave the little warning that I react on anything, basically. Maive RUTE is how I usually am called nowadays in Brussels. So thanks a lot for the invitation. It's really a great occasion to come to speak to you. And already I realized at the very door we're entering that I'm in the right event. Since already from the first meter entering this fantastic castle, we engaged in discussing what Europe is now putting forward as a next important initiative in the PV solar technologies in Europe, and of course glass industry is going to be very much part of the story. We are about to launch a new industrial alliance for manufacturing PV technologies in Europe, and that of course glass industry is going to be very important. Now, thanks a lot for the invitation this evening, and I'm really pleased that this honor is with me to come and present the work we do in the Commission, and more specifically in the department responsible for industry policy, single market and entrepreneurship, which is DG GROW, where I work. So let me now get down to the business immediately. We all know, and we have just heard also from the opening speech here, that the world today is not exactly as it was before 24th of February. And Russia's unjustified military aggression against Ukraine has really drastically changed the context of where we do business. The energy prices is a big concern, gas availability is a big concern. But I think overall we are becoming very much aware that perhaps the model we had previously, with these global value chains and just-in-time delivery, it's just not any longer fit for today's let's say, environment, and we need to be ready for a different business model of tomorrow. So what does this all have to do with glass? We already heard that the UN General Council, when they decided in May last year that this year would be the United Nations International Year of Glass, they would have, of course, not anticipated such a dramatic change in impacting all of us globally. But still, they have announced this year a year of glass. And I think, nevertheless, despite of the changed circumstances, glass industry is very much in the center of our thinking. Like in a small droplet, you can see ocean reflected. I think in the glass industry, we can see many of the difficulties reflected that our energy-intensive industries are witnessing in Europe. But also with your efforts to come through and to decarbonize the industry, I think this is going to be an exemplary example for many other industries to take good lessons from. We, of course, very much appreciate that the glass factories in Europe are really high-value assets for us. They are producing everything from flat glass to all kinds of other purposes. We were already listening to the previous speaker mentioning that even our vaccines, of course, could have not been delivered to us without glass. But if we think of any of the industrial or also other economic sectors, you can't do it without glass. We certainly see glass as a very important element of our industries, and we are very much aware of the positive role of glass. Then let's look a bit into the consequences of the current situation. And of course, glass industry is among those which is threatened by the prices, to start with, energy prices, but gas availability, of course, is an additional concern for the industry. And of course, we cannot accept that this crisis now is going to bring curtailment to industries such as glass industry, where then even the equipment that is used would not be suitable any longer. And furthermore, we certainly need to stand for keeping industries in Europe and building our industrial base further. And that is why, of course, as I mentioned, initiatives such as the Industrial Alliance for Solar PV Production in Europe is something that we take forward in the Commission. You have seen that with various legislative proposals and policy initiatives, Commission is addressing, of course, the energy issues, and I'm not going to dive into it. I'm sure there will be a lot of discussion around the energy availability, the transfer towards renewables, and what to do about gas availability and so on. But if we keep our eyes on the longer term, I think there are opportunities and also a lot of potential for the European glass industry. The climate goals, as we all know, will mobilize our energies to go towards decarbonization, and they will also open up new markets. So from the renovation of the existing buildings, which will take a lot of glass, to the packaging we just discussed, hopefully would be making even more space available for glass. I see a lot of opportunities for the glass industry. And let's also try and turn the circular economy into an opportunity. Glass is already one of the sectors that is very much, I would say, advanced when we talk about circular use, and there, of course, more opportunities would open up, supported by the legislation. We also have engaged with energy-intensive industries as part of the policy drive, looking for ways of going for more energy efficiency. And your sector, in fact, has listed 76 promising projects, including switching production from natural gas to biogas, increasing use of oxygen for high temperature heat, and use of clean hydrogen, of course, as well. So hydrogen still, of course, is in short supply. We have to keep this in mind. And earlier this month, the Commission launched a €3 billion third call for large-scale decarbonization projects under the EU Innovation Fund. And I invite, of course, the industry here to seize this opportunity, because that's going to give some necessary funding also for the decarbonization projects and for innovative projects. So today, I hope that we are not going to only discuss the production, which is currently hit by the high energy prices, but also that the discussions here are going to look at the whole value chain, the carbon footprint, and very much the recycling end of things, where the circular economy action plan foresees further also targets and, let's say, incentives to bring our cities, our municipalities also more towards the circular economy. So even in public procurements, we believe there should be certain percentage dedicated to climate and green criteria, and not only the price criteria. So for all of these issues, I wish you a very good discussions, high energy this evening. I think we have a moderator here who will certainly keep us all in high energy. And I hope that the discussions will also help us in the Parliament and in the Commission to really see what the industry needs to take it forward to the next model that we already see shaping up, but which is not fully yet here. Thanks a lot.